We're here in Milan, and look who's popped in. It's Mr. Fraser Precious.
All right,
how are you?
Good to see you, right?
Good to see you too. Yeah, what have you been up to?
What haven't I been up to? That's the question.
Okay.
Just finished filming a feature film recently.
Yeah.
Called Indulgence. That wrapped last week.
Right.
So that was 2 weeks of filming. Pretty intense. Produced, wrote, and starred in that one.
Right.
But I'm here to talk about A Precious Life.
A Precious Life.
And yeah, that's what brings.
Tagline.
That's it. That's what brings me to Milan.
Tell us a bit about that then.
Well, it's been 5 years in the making.
Yeah.
And it's based on my life story. So it's when I used to be a professional trumpet player.
Yes.
About 10 years ago, I went through a series of unfortunate events, ended up homeless, and then basically I discovered a journey to find a new path for myself, basically. You know, I found a way back to loving life and loving music, and yeah, it's kind of a rediscovery, it's an inspirational story. And yeah, I'm here to premiere the short film.
So the short film is a retelling of your actual life's journey.
Yeah, well, I mean, we made the short film as a concept for the feature film.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make the big feature film on a budget of about 5 million.
Okay.
So my plan has been to make the short film as a proof of concept to show the vision, the insight into the feature film. Hopefully get some momentum, build some exposure for the film and the story through festivals.
So being the passport and the life of a musician, clearly we've either got the Albert Hall or Carnegie Hall featured, depending on whether you're London or New York, and being an Englishman, clearly we have a journey of some magnitude between these prestigious venues.
Yeah.
Have you played Carnegie Hall?
Not Carnegie Hall, but I played in the Sydney Opera House many times.
Yeah.
So this story happened to me when I was in Australia in Sydney.
Yeah.
I was playing with various symphony orchestras and big bands, jazz bands. I was playing in the Sydney Opera House. I was playing for operas and requiems in front of thousands of people. So, you know, the Sydney Opera House is one of the biggest venues.
Absolutely.
And, you know, this story happened to me after I was playing in those top venues. You know, basically I ended up losing everything in my life. I became homeless.
Right.
And then I tried to find a new way to rediscover that love of music again.
Absolutely.
And I found that through different genres of music. You know, when you're homeless on the street, you have to adapt to the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And my first instinct wasn't to play classical music on the street. I actually didn't want to play my trumpet for the first week or two that I was homeless, and you know, because I felt that it had been responsible for me becoming homeless. So it was kind of a love-hate relationship at that point, but obviously it was the most important thing for me. So, you know, I realised I needed to make some money on the street to survive and to put food on my plate. So I started you know, busking and playing different styles of music: jazz, blues, soul, street music.
Wow.
So you know that, you know, from Carnegie Hall, as it were, to the streets playing music is the kind of transformation and the journey that I'm trying to show through the story. You know, from normally you do rags to riches, but this is the other way around. This is the tragic fall from grace of a classical musician.
So, retelling a chapter that you've already experienced. I mean, that must have been quite a task. Basically, replacing those steps and taking yourself back to that mindset, so that you could put the raw emotion and the genuine journey into the through line of the script. That must have been an emotional roller coaster for you. Yeah,
it was. I mean, you know, it happened to me 10 years ago. It took about 5 years for me to kind of get past those emotions and that journey and that story, you know, mentally, emotionally, physically. And, you know, when I got into a good place, you know, I've always been a very positive person. Yeah. And that's what kind of got me out of that hole, was my inner resilience and strength to try and pull through and find another way through life. Sure. So when I was retelling it through the short film, and again I will do through the feature film, it's more kind of a prideful reflection of how I managed to get out of that. And you know, even though I'm retelling and reliving some of those moments, it's you know, it's nice to know that I got through it, and so it gives me inspiration myself, and you know, makes me feel at peace that I've got through that, and now I'm sharing that journey with others to try and help inspire and motivate them, and through their struggles, through their journey, that's what motivates me to make this film, is to help others.
Yeah, well, I mean, life sometimes throws something at you and that tests your mettle, and you've clearly been tested and you come out the other side. So I think you've got a bit of a catalyst for change here, and there's not enough of these life-affirming, engaging stories out there. So I mean, the next step is obviously get this into production, get it financed, get it onto the right planning road. Is it something that you still want to take on as the lead, being your life story?
Definitely. Well, I mean, I basically found myself in film after this journey took place.
Right.
I was a musician from 3 years old until I still am now. And
Sure.
After these events, I stumbled into film. I stumbled into acting first of all 10 years ago.
Sure.
And so for the past 10 years, I've been forging my career in the film industry as
Right.
a transition.
Right.
So I've been producing, directing, writing, but acting has been my main focus.
Absolutely.
A performer's a performer, a musician, an actor. They're
Sure.
from the same sort of mold.
Yeah.
And I've trained myself enough. I've experienced enough as an actor to believe that I can fulfill this role.
Absolutely.
Based on myself.
Right.
And the whole point of telling this story is to do it authentically.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be able to play the classical trumpet to the highest possible level,
Mm-hmm.
authentically in the film,
Mm-hmm.
so that people can see, this is a real musician,
Yeah.
who's playing his own story,
Yeah.
not an actor pretending to be a real musician and faking classical music, faking classical trumpet.
Sure,
It's easy to get by kind of glissing over jazz and improvisation, but when you're playing very technical melodies and symphonies, that requires authenticity. And
Absolutely.
so I believe I'm the best person to play my role in the short, in the feature, with preparation, with training, with acting coaches, all sorts of rehearsals. I believe I can exceed the expectations for my own role in the feature film.
Sure. No, I can definitely see your thought process rolling out in a structural manner, which would probably be more beneficial for a budget in terms of allocating that spend, because yes, someone could essentially mime to a soundtrack. But we're not really creating Birdie here per se, which is obviously absolute fantastic classic tracks that everybody knows, and somebody is miming to because they're playing the embodiment of that character. We're basically taking you forward, and we're glimpsing your life over your shoulder. So yes, of course, there's going to be a formidable soundtrack there, and it's going to be something that you've composed yourself. But who better to portray yourself than yourself?
Well, I mean, it's never really been done before to this degree. Normally you have an actor playing the story of someone, a character. You don't really have, the actual character playing himself.
Sure.
But I've like I said, I've forged a career in acting, and I want to be surrounded by other great actors. In the supporting roles. There's many great supporting roles in this story. That we have the conductor, the girlfriend who's a violinist, principal violinist. We have a therapist. There's many great characters can be played by top well-known actors that can support me as an emerging talent.
Well, yeah, I mean, the emerging talent road is definitely the way to go. Obviously the idea is to salt and pepper you with as much support as possible, and as many different personalities as possible, so that any strengths or weaknesses that are portrayed on screen by yourself are equally balanced with the commercial cast. So I mean, clearly I've seen some of your work. You can perform, you can produce, you can deliver. I think this is going to be a challenge for you. I've seen the short, and I can see the angst and the emotional displacement with you revisiting some of the challenges, and that's just in the short. I mean, this is going to be an exhausting journey for you, but hopefully a very rewarding one, and a life-affirming one, and something that obviously will be seen as a future catalyst for change.
Definitely.
So the next step is really get those relationships in place.
Yeah.
Start talking and living and breathing the film again to get it going. Obviously, you've had some very interesting meetings. I know we can't drop names, but you've had some extremely interesting meetings in the last couple of weeks, and long may it continue. We've got a nice little ripple going now of interest, and of course you've got your screening tonight.
That's right. Looking
So
forward to it.
who knows what could turn up tonight? We're in the centre of Milan.
That's it.
Yeah, there's a nice guest list and lots of opportunity. There's a formidable turnout here of equally talented filmmakers and producers. And I'm pretty sure after your screening, you'll have more than a few opportunities handed to you. So in terms of your career as it's shaping, you've just shot a project, you've got another one in development, and you've got a Precious Life that you're rolling out.
Yeah.
You're pretty busy.
Yeah, no, I am, and you know, you mentioned the word exhausting before. None of it's exhausting to me. You know, the journey itself, when I lived it, was exhausting and wearing. But you know, hard work is enjoyable. It's satisfying. It's a challenge, but you know, I get bored very easily. I always need to be doing things, doing projects. You know, whether it's acting, writing, producing, directing, playing the trumpet.
Sure.
I love all of it.
Sure.
For a Precious Life, I want to focus on just the acting, to play the role, to master that with my playing.
Sure.
You know, I want every aspect of it to be real. You know, the homeless life, the homeless story that we portray in the film. You know, I want us to be filming that on the streets with real homeless people, incorporating them.
Absolutely.
Real street musicians.
Absolutely.
So, you know, that's why it's important to not make this film just because we can, or because it's easy to, you know, or take the first offer.
Sure.
Is to make it right. Is to make it with the right people, the right director. The right director is the spearhead of this project. They're the storyteller, the one that's going to portray this vision. You know, I don't want this to be a film that's just lost and forgotten. It needs to leave an imprint within film, with the messages it tells of mental health and homelessness, and to show the power of music.
Absolutely.
And so it needs a strong director to steer the vision.
There's some similarities here to in timing, certainly, and certainly in the model as well. I mean, obviously we've just had A Star Is Born go through the cinema system.
Great film.
And you know, there's a fair resemblance. I've got to be
not
fair.
The alcoholic though.
No. But there's a fair resemblance. You could be his brother or maybe his son.
But the British doppelganger version.
The British doppelganger version, exactly, without the karaoke.
That's it. Yeah.
But if you were to pinpoint, you know, a director that could take the reins on this and really bring it justice,
who would it be?
Give me three.
I'll give you three. One is who you just mentioned, Bradley Cooper, directed A Star Is Born. Amazing talent, amazing actor, you know, similar sort of background. You know, he's a performer. He's now had his directorial debut. He's directed a musically driven film that has power and emotion behind it. You know, they're the same sort of elements as A Precious Life. I'd love Bradley Cooper to direct this film because he's a storyteller and he's a performer.
Absolutely.
You know, he knows how to connect with my character, so he would probably be the best person to direct me.
Sure.
And he would be able to, you know, bring along a great cast with him.
Absolutely.
So Bradley Cooper, Damien Chazelle, for obvious reasons, you know, he directed Whiplash, which is, you know, a similar comparison film to Precious Life.
It's very much a comparative, actually.
About a jazz drummer's challenges in the industry. But you know, The Precious Life, we explore a lot of other elements. So Damien Chazelle would be a great director. Sure. You know, Tom Hooper, Danny Boyle, James Mangold. You know, there's several different directors. You know, Ben Affleck is a great storyteller.
He is.
You know, and he's an actor, director-actor.
He is. He's got a lot of strength. He brings a lot of strength and caliber. Obviously, he's a weight in the industry. He's a heavyweight in the industry anyway. But he's been creating inspiring stories since the beginning. I mean, obviously, him and his writing collaboration partner, Matt Damon. Yeah, they've
and they came from nothing. You know, it was so difficult for them to make Good Will Hunting, but they persisted. You know, the same with Sylvester Stallone with Rocky. Everyone said, no, you can't play this character. And he persisted, he turned down offers. And that's exactly what I'll do until someone believes in me and the story and the authenticity. You know,
I think you've got to stay true to your goal. At the end of the day, you've started this with an ideal that you're going to take the reins and you're going to play the lead. And, you know, it is a challenge. It's a challenge in itself to hold on to that. I know I've seen a lot of people that have held on to the reins of their scripts for dear life. Thankfully to see most of them go into production eventually, but more often than not, people have to take a back foot and be realistic about things. You know, hopefully you'll get your day in the sun and you'll get to make your film.
Yeah.
But if you're 5-10 years down the line, and obviously you've got a formidable career behind you, and somebody comes up to you and says, Fraser, I love you. I love your script. Absolutely love it. Love the idea of it. Love everything about it. We'd love such and such to play the role. Would you take the supporting role? I'm guessing I already know what your response would be.
Well, I mean, my first response would be no,
Yeah.
but my brain would then kick in if it's in 10, 15 years' time. You know, I've aged as an actor, as a character. You know, I still want my character to be within the younger side of 40.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
to show how, you know, young people are homeless and deal with these problems. People in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I'm not stupid, but I believe in my project. I believe in myself. I
Sure.
believe in the vision of the story. So, at the moment, it's just obstacles that are holding me back. At the moment,
Absolutely.
It's not that I'm not capable of making this film, or
Yeah.
it's not, you know, it's finding the investment, it's finding the director to spearhead it, it's pulling
Sure.
the cast together. I mean, there's simple elements,
Absolutely.
but I don't have a resource
There's
of all these
simple
things.
elements, but bringing them all together
Exactly.
is the challenge.
Exactly.
And you're an emerging talent yourself. You're realistic about where you are in the industry right now. You're certainly one of the most proactive talents that I've come across. I mean, you write, you direct. You know, you're a musician in your own right. And obviously you've stepped into the producers arena as well. You've got opportunities that are on your desk that most people don't have, but you've stayed true to form on your own direction. And I admire you for that. I have to admit, you know, it's rare that I come across someone with your tenacity.
Well,
so
I think that's key to life, and that's key to succeeding, key to following, you know, your path that you set out for yourself,
Yeah.
and never giving up. You know,
yeah,
so many people, unfortunately and sadly, in our industry, do give up at the first hurdle, at the first obstacle.
Sure.
And you know, I don't have a recognisable name. I don't have a famous name,
No.
and that's what's holding me back right now is
Of course.
fame.
Yeah, so it's
you know,
time.
Which
It's
is
time.
Which is
It's
something I
time.
don't seek. I don't seek fame.
Sure.
I'm trying to tell this story to inspire others and
Sure.
to get the messages out there.
Sure.
Everything else is a byproduct of the film.
Absolutely.
And I hope to make it the purest way possible.
Absolutely. So if there's any financiers out there that are looking to get involved in the Catalyst for Change and have aspirations of finding a sound business investment, providing all the elements are in place, obviously, and the director of a level is captain of the ship, I think you could do worse than take a look at Precious Life.
Thank you very much,
you.
Ray. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for dropping in.
Thank you.
Good luck with the screening tonight,
Yeah.
and good luck with the awards.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All the best.
Thank you.